back, my faithful. Nothing will stop the return of the Sith.
What's going on, guys? ActionPack Studio 79 here, and today we are back with another movie review. So, since it's May the 4th, Star Wars Day, I thought I would do a special video. So today we're going to be doing a review on the Rise of Skywalker and why I think it was such a big disappointment. I'm going to be honest, when I first saw this movie, I didn't see it as such the big disappointment that it was that I see now, but instead I saw it as a pretty solid Star Wars movie. I thought the story was cool when I first saw it, thought the fight scenes were good, and I just liked the characters. But thank the heavens that I watched it a second time. I've realized so many different flaws that I didn't realize the first time. So we're going to split this up into two parts. First I'm going to talk about what I thought was good, and then we're going to talk about the bad. Alright, let's go. Hopping into the good things. So one thing that I thought this film really did well on was Finn. I definitely think Finn is in his prime in this one. I honestly think he was one of my favorite characters in this one. Now, I think he was so good at this one because they completed his arc, his story arc. I mean, he had a really good arc in The Force Awakens. They really finished off his arc perfectly in this one. The Force Awakens, he was someone who was always scared, who didn't want to make the sacrifice, and he was just terrified the whole movie, trying to run away from Jakku, not wanting to go back. But then at the end of The Force Awakens, when he lifts up Anakin's saber, that moment was so powerful, not only because it was really cool, but it showed how far the character had come from the scared stormtrooper to becoming the hero of the film. But then they completely ruined him in The Last Jedi. I really didn't like him in The Last Jedi. I thought he was annoying. I just didn't like the way he was acting in that one. But then they showed that he was ready to make the sacrifice. And that's honestly when I think they should have stuck with that and that Finn should have died. But then Rise of Skywalker came out, and they really subverted my expectations. I thought Finn was just going to be just like how he was in The Last Jedi. But I thought he was really good in this one. I thought the Force stuff was great. I loved how they introduced the other girl with the horses on where the Death Star had crashed. And I just thought that was great. Another thing that I thought they handled well with this movie was the grieving. No, not grief. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't really like Leia's death scene. I didn't think they handled it very well. I feel like that was rushed along with the whole movie, but we're on the good stuff right now. One of my favorite moments in the film was when Chewie found out Leia died. I know this sounds weird that that's my favorite moment, but that moment was so powerful. It was just heart-wrenching to see Chewie realize that he had lost everybody. I mean, Luke died, Han died, Leia died. He had lost everybody. He doesn't really have his old pals. I mean, Chewie has been there since the very beginning. Since Attack of the Clones, he's been here, helping the Republic since they freed them from slavery on Kashyyyk. And I just thought they handled that scene so well, and it was just beautiful. Alright, now let's get into the bad stuff in this movie. So we're going to talk about 3 things that I thought this movie did not handle very well. Alright, coming into number 1. The pacing. The pacing, alright, I'm just going to say it straight on. The pacing in this movie is not good at all. I mean, I feel like the movie should have been longer, or some of the stuff that they did shouldn't have been so fast. Let's take for number 1, Ben Solo. Ben Solo, I was so excited to see him become redeemed, and when he fought the Knights of Ren, I was so hyped for that scene. And then the scene ended up being like 20 seconds long. I mean, these guys are like the highest of high. They were these crazy guys, these crazy knights. And he beats them all by himself, and then these random red troopers in The Last Jedi, he needed Rey's help to defeat them, and he could barely do it by himself. Another thing I really didn't like about this movie was Rey. I mean, this is an unpopular opinion, but I kind of like Rey. I think she's a cool character, and I thought her arc over the 3 movies were amazing. I mean, The Last Jedi, I think she's in her peak. The Last Jedi, I thought she was great in that. But then they bring her down to this one where she's like mean to everyone almost. Like Finn trying to help her out, and she's like, you don't even know me. And so I just feel like they didn't handle Rey very well, even though she was having temptations with the dark side. I feel like she should have expressed that to Finn instead of closing him and Poe off the whole movie, just trying to focus on herself and just do it all alone.
The writing.
Alright, I didn't realize this when I first saw the movie, but the writing in this film is not the best. When I first saw it, I thought it was good. I kind of liked the treasure hunt story, how everybody was hunting over the saber. It kind of reminded me of The Force Awakens when everybody was hunting after the map to Luke Skywalker. The difference is that Force Awakens was executed much better than Rise of Skywalker. A lot of stuff was set up in the film that I thought was going to be really cool for like the next movie. Then I realized, oh wait, this is the last movie. Like they set up Finn and the other girl's chemistry together, how they were both stormtroopers, and I thought they were going to end up being brother and sister, since they were both stormtroopers that left. And then they had her set up like a whole nother arc almost with Lando, and I thought that would have been great. But they just leave it all. I feel like they should have gone to episode 10 with this one. I thought 10 would have been a much better ending.
Happy Mother's Day.
Another thing with the writing that was wrong, I don't know if I'd say if it was this movie, or if it was The Last Jedi. But if they were going to bring back Palpatine, I feel like they should have teased that at the end of The Last Jedi instead of Broom Boy. But I feel like they made all of that stuff with Palpatine in the last second. I felt like they didn't even set that up, really. Like, they didn't set up anything in this movie from the next, oh, God. They didn't set up anything that happened in this movie in the other 2 films. I mean, yeah, it's just nothing. There's nothing about Palpatine. Palpatine isn't even referenced once in any of the films. Force Awakens, great. They mentioned Luke a bunch of times and how the First Order kept trying to go after them, and then that set up The Last Jedi. That was great. That one did good. Until they bring in Rise of Skywalker. And that's why I think Palpatine should have been in the end credits instead of Broom Kid, because then that would have actually had them 3 solid films, and they each had a bridge connecting all 3 of them. But the stuff with Palpatine, I feel like it was made up so quickly. Like I said, they didn't reference Palpatine at all, nothing about Rey's backstory, and they waited so far, and they still don't answer all of our questions. Like, what about Snoke? I guess Snoke was a clone all this time, apparently, because he has him in these jar things. But they decide to go the cheap way. They just throat chop. You want an answer for this? Throat chop. Oh, you want an answer for that? Throat chop. You want an answer for this? I'll give you something special, actually. Throat chop! So yeah, that's what I think about The Rise of Skywalker. I mean, it's not as good as The Last Jedi. It's not as good as The Force Awakens. I mean, I still think Phantom Menace is the weakest one, but this one is definitely down there with them. Alright guys, that's the end of today's video. If you want me to do another Star Wars review, maybe on the Clone Wars TV show, or another review just in general, just let me know. Alright guys, that's the end of today's video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.